Where I'm standing, the engine will be by the end of the day. Everything is looking super good on this thing and I couldn't be more happy. I wanted the most heat resistant product. I'm gonna go ahead and pray to God that our snout fits without having to modify this and take things off. Alrighty guys, got the RX7 shirt on today because today is the day that we're gonna put the engine back in the car. Where I'm standing, the engine will be by the end of the day. We're gonna have to trim a provision for our S1 sequential shifter because the old shifter from the T56 was much smaller in diameter and didn't need that much room. This one needs quite a bit of room. And so we're going to go ahead and trim that out to make sure that everything fits up nice and easy in there. Well guys, that's it. We did it. We got the engine in, the supercharger's on, it's all bolted up and torqued down to spec. Everything is looking super good on this thing and I couldn't be more happy. Still have more stuff to do. We are gonna start working on the supercharger snout. Today what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the supercharger snout off. Woo! Our pulley is off, so that's wonderful news. Our snout here is looking nice and clean. Our supercharged pulley is still good to go. Now these are press-on fit, so we do have to use the press to get our boost district pulley on there. That's not something we're gonna do right this second, but we will do it very soon. We're gonna continue moving forward and making some progress on this stuff. Right now, what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be working on the fuel rails. We had Radium send us these, Radium Auto. These are specifically for the LSA supercharger. So we're gonna get our fuel rail all set up. I'm only gonna do one of them. It's the same thing from side to side, so I'll just show you guys the one. We ordered our Deechworks injectors. Now these injectors are 1200cc injectors, which is 130 pound injectors per hour. First things first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our Radium fuel rail set up. I like to lube up my O-ring. I'm just gonna take a dab of lube, put on all the O-rings, and then I'm gonna rub that in. Rub it in real good. And then what we're gonna do is put it on our fitting on the ORB side. And we're gonna continue that process until we have all of these done. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna install all of them. Okay, now what we're gonna need is a big Allen and a number 10. The number 10 is gonna go on the 8AN ORB. Just get that down there as snug as possible. And then we'll do the same thing for our slugs here. All those are in there nice and tight. Next step is to grab our injector. Take a little bit of that super lube, dab it on each one of these injector O-rings. They are press fit, so they're not gonna go in super easy. Fuel rail is set up and ready to party. Now all we gotta do is get it on there. We just gotta build a crossover from here to here so we can get fuel flow to both fuel rails, and we should be all set. That's the plan. We're gonna put the starter in. We're gonna try to get the exhaust manifolds on. So we're gonna put both those on. I just got them back today from cryo coating. We did pick black because it seems to be the most heat resistant. Could have went with something like gold and that would have been cool too, but I wanted the most heat resistant product that happened to be black. So that's what we went with. We are using ARP bolts, not studs. If we put studs in here, I can't get my exhaust on and off, so it's pointless. So I only use bolts. This is it. Header is on, pretty much fully installed. Now it's time to get our alternator on, so that's the plan. Talked with ICT Billet, and they sent me this, which is the LSA alternator adapter bracket, so we're gonna use that, and hopefully it holds right up like factory. Let's see how it goes. All right guys, so we followed the instructions on this. Now we do not have an LSA motor, so if we did, this guy would go right here with the spacer, and then there would be a hole in the block right there. Now that's not our case because we're running a 5.3 liter. We are only gonna have these two bolts holding our alternator in, super solid still. This bolt would typically go back here to this. Unfortunately, we can't make that happen because we don't have an adapter bracket for that, at least not one that's going to fit. So with that being said, this is as good as it's gonna get. Alrighty guys, we got our map sensor wired up and installed. I did verify the wiring just to make sure we don't have any issues before I loomed it up. So that was all good. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start working on our belt drive system. And really the big thing we wanna mock up is this guy right here. So I'm just gonna make sure all these bolts here are torqued down before we try to put this on. All right, next, I feel like this is not normal. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume that they didn't torque this one down either. Oh, there, this clocks. I did not realize that. There's like a dowel pin in here. So this, you can clock this depending on if you need your belt to be closer or further away. We're gonna leave this off for now. That's only gonna help us later if we got the wrong belt size. Here's our 2 flange and 1 button head. All right, so we're gonna get this guy mounted up. All right, that feels really good. It's on there nice and solid. On here, for our next step, we definitely are going to need the water pump. All right, that's on there nice and tight. We got this guy on there. And go ahead and put our pulley on. We have our ICT billet pulley. That's seated nice and tight. Everything lines up super smooth. So the little pulley is gonna go down here and the big one is gonna go at the top. Okay, top pulley's tight. All right, bottom pulley is tight. And I'm just gonna put it where they had it and I'm not gonna tighten it down. Not yet, but let's just see how it looks. All right, this is pretty much fully assembled except for our belts and our snout, which now that I'm looking at it, I'm gonna go ahead and pray to God that our snout fits without having to modify this and take things off. We might have to take this guy off. Hopefully we don't take the water pump off. I did provision it for this guy already. I even bent this out of the way. Now you could get a different one. We could have gotten one that runs out over through here. Unfortunately, I didn't find one that I really liked. So we're gonna end up running this hopefully underneath of our snout and then over there to our coolant reservoir. So that's the plan with that. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys like the content, like, comment, subscribe. Till next time. Peace.